She is undeserving of everything that she receives. The NBA's criticism of Caitlin Clark has escalated to unprecedented levels after those remarks ignited a tempest in women's basketball, with several players publicly downplaying her significance.
Caitlin Clark has gotten some backlash from some parts of the Times article. And whether it be people that wanted to use her to push a narrative clapping back at her, or not even clapping back, just turning on her, or whether it be WNBA owners, in one regard, Renee Montgomery refusing to say anything positive about Caitlin, and then another one basically saying that Caitlin Clark doesn't deserve anything she gets. And we've now got, thankfully, some like big prominent athletes.
However, everything changed when Olympic athlete Gabby Thomas and tennis legend Chris Evert entered the ring.
He asks Caitlin Clark about the comments I made, or the Twitter, or whatever, the tweet, and here's what happened.
Kelly, she was saying that you were apologizing for your white privilege and the fact that you wanted to uplift Black female athletes and make sure that they were getting the shine, kind of like your pioneers were getting the shine that they deserved. And I just want to know how you feel or how you respond to some of those criticisms.
I grew up a fan of this league from a very young age. Like, my favorite player was Maya Moore. Like, I know what this league was about. And like I said, like, it's only been around 25 plus years. So I know there's been so many amazing Black women that have been in this league, and continuing to uplift them, I think, is very important.
Doing it again.
That's something I'm very aware of. I said, I feel like one of my best skills is just blocking things out. Like, I don't really, the only opinions I really care about are the people that I love.
That's actually smart, and she shouldn't be listening to her critics, but that's not going to stop those of us who have strong thoughts about her bending the knee from...
If you've been following women's basketball recently, you know that Caitlin Clark has been making headlines left and right. But this time, it's not about her amazing three-pointers or record-breaking performances. Rather, we're talking about something much more controversial. The reason these sports icons are defending college basketball's most talked about player may surprise you, and it's causing chaos in the women's sports world.
She's one of the greatest tennis players of all time. She is somebody who has almost been as successful in the sport as Serena Williams. And she's there basically saying Caitlin Clark deserves this award because of her talent and contributions both on and off the court.
The response from certain WNBA figures, let's just say it wasn't exactly warm and fuzzy. Take Renee Montgomery, for instance. When asked about Clark's impact on the game, she did everything but acknowledge it. It was like watching someone try to dodge raindrops in a thunderstorm. Pretty much impossible, but she sure tried. And she wasn't alone. We had WNBA owners coming out of the woodwork, and one of them really took things to another level. This owner, and I'm paraphrasing here, basically suggested that Clark's success and recognition had more to do with her race than her actual talent. Let that sink in for a moment. We're talking about a player who's broken countless records, revolutionized the college game, and brought unprecedented attention to women's basketball, but apparently that's not enough for some people. But here's where things get interesting. Just when it seemed like the criticism was reaching a fever pitch, help came from some unexpected corners. And when I say unexpected, I mean really unexpected. We're talking about legends from completely different sports stepping into the ring to defend Clark. First up, we've got Chris Evert. For those of you who might not know, we're talking about an absolute tennis icon. Here, 3 year-end championships and 18 Grand Slam crowns. People pay attention when Chris Evert speaks, and she certainly had something to say about this circumstance. She has several albums that are still in existence today.
You have got this, and I really like this response from Gabby Thomas, who is, again, she is an athlete who has spent time around Caitlin Clark, and she basically was calling out Riley Gaines, and this is Riley Gaines. No one was asking for Caitlin Clark to position herself as a right-wing hero. All she had to do was remain neutral.
Never gave a token gesture of support. Instead, she came out swinging, pointing out what should have been clear to everyone: that Clark's accomplishments and recognition were earned through her extraordinary talent and contributions both on and off the court. This wasn't just another voice in the crowd. It was confirmation from one of the greatest athletes in history. However, the support didn't end there, as Gabby Thomas, an Olympic medalist and another powerhouse in her own right, joined in.
And Gabby Thomas said, you don't just have to share your opinion on everything, just sit without now. I don't really mind. That response is what it is. Caitlin Clark shouldn't need to apologize for being white, which is a comment. And I don't think she necessarily did that, but I can see how it read like that. And I will stand by that. Like, that was the first thing the way I read it initially. And Gabby Thomas says, agreed, nor should she apologize for acknowledging the POC, the people of color that came before her and play a significant role in building belief.
Thomas wasn't having any of Riley Gaines' suggestion that Clark should have just stayed neutral. Her response was well-considered and impactful, touching on two important issues that truly went to the core of this dispute. Thomas first made it clear that Clark shouldn't have to apologize for being herself. For a moment, consider that we've reached a point where some people seem to think that being successful while being white is something for which you should apologize. It's absurd, and Thomas called it out for what it was. However, this is where Thomas truly demonstrated her understanding of the situation and defended Clark's right to recognize the players of color who helped create the league because, despite what some critics might have you believe, these two things aren't mutually exclusive. You can succeed and shine while also honoring those who came before you, and that's exactly what Clark did now. Let's discuss an intriguing topic that has been occurring or isn't occurring. Have you noticed how silent some of Clark's closest allies have been? I'm referring to teammates like Lexi Hull, Kate Martin, and even her boyfriend Connor McCaffrey. Their silence speaks volumes, and the reason for this is that it seems pretty obvious that Clark herself wants this whole story to end. She doesn't want to be at the center of a cultural debate. All she's ever wanted to do is play basketball at the highest level possible, and when you think about it, that may be the most potent statement of all. Let's take a look at Lexi Brown's situation for a moment. She was initially dubious about Clark, and she was a Clark denier, if you will. However, after playing her twice, Brown's attitude drastically shifted after witnessing Clark drain consecutive 30-footers to end the game and then losing by 30 points in their second meeting. Caitlin Clark is the real deal. What makes Brown's support so intriguing is that she has established a successful career in the media, especially with her appearances on Gil's Arena. She has less to lose by speaking her mind and isn't constrained by the same rules as active players who might be concerned about upsetting the status quo. The reaction to all of this on social media has been fascinating to watch. People are analyzing every word of Clark's Times article in an attempt to uncover hidden meanings or problematic undertones. But the problem is that they are so focused on stirring up controversy that they are ignoring the real impact Clark has had on the sport. Speaking of impact, let's take a moment to discuss the numbers. We're not just dealing with a talented basketball player. We're talking about someone who has fundamentally altered the way people view women's basketball. TV ratings were destroyed through the sky by the attendance records. What's really intriguing about all of this is that the same people who are criticizing Clark now were surprisingly silent when she was setting all of these records, selling out arenas, and hitting those logo 3ES and making SportsCenter's top 10 every night. They weren't discussing privilege during that time. Let's take a moment to discuss Gil's Arena, as it has turned into an intriguing platform in this entire debate. Gilbert Arenas is an intriguing figure who, at the same time, has the ability to be both the smartest and, let's say, most unpredictable person in the room. His show has evolved into an unexpected forum for candid basketball discourse, and the way they have covered the Clark situation reveals a lot about how the larger basketball community feels about this controversy. Every time Cheryl swoops onto Gil's Arena, it causes a stir. The videos go viral, the arguments intensify, and people begin to take sides. But here's the interesting thing. Despite the heated debates and divergent viewpoints, there is an underlying respect for Clark's accomplishments. The arguments aren't about whether she is talented. Rather, they are about everything else related to her success. Let's now discuss something that has been simmering beneath the surface of this entire controversy: the issue of activism in sports. Some people seem to believe that athletes must take a stance on every social issue that arises, but the truth is that they don't. And that's exactly what Gabby Thomas was trying to say when she defended Clark. Athletes should be allowed to choose their battles. If someone wants to be an activist like Natasha Cloud, that's great. If they want to concentrate only on their game, that's fine too. If they want to support Trump like Sophie Cunningham or support KLA Harris, that's their right. The point is that we shouldn't be forcing athletes into boxes or requiring them to take positions on issues they might not want to engage with. The way Clark has handled this entire situation actually reveals a lot about her character rather than retaliating against her detractors or becoming embroiled in Twitter wars. She has remained focused on her game, letting her basketball speak for her. In my opinion, it speaks loudly. When Clark dropped those consecutive 30-footers against Brown's team, it wasn't just a highlight moment. Rather, it was a declaration that Clark was making. This is who I am. This is what I do. No words or tweets were necessary. Just unquestionable skill was on display. And let's take a moment to discuss that skill, because in all of this discussion about race, recognition, and who should get what, we occasionally forget how incredibly talented Clark is. We're talking about someone who can pull up from the logo with the same confidence that most players have when shooting free throws. If you go to any girls' basketball game these days, you'll see kids trying to shoot from way downtown, trying no-look passes, playing with a kind of freedom and joy that Clark has helped normalize. That's an impact you can't measure in ratings or ticket sales. But here's where the conversation gets really interesting. She's not just playing the game, she's reinventing it. Her influence on the next generation is incredible. Some critics have claimed that Clark's success somehow diminishes the accomplishments of those who came before her, but this couldn't be further from the reality. When Clark honors the women's basketball pioneers, she does so not out of duty or political correctness, but rather because she recognizes that she is a part of a legacy that dates back decades. Consider the players that started the WNBA from the beginning, who competed for every ounce of fame they received, played in arenas that were only partially filled, and took on second jobs to make ends meet. Clark's success validates them and shows that their efforts weren't in vain. It also shows that the foundation they established is solid enough to support the next generation. Let's face it though, given that Clark is set to join the WNBA, the timing of this debate is not coincidental. Some individuals appear practically frantic to stir up controversy. The truth is that Clark's influence on women's basketball will last for years to come, not just because of her extraordinary abilities or game-changing performances, but also because she's proving that it's possible to be exceptional without apologizing for it. She's demonstrating that you can respect the past while pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the present. Take a look at how the media landscape is changing. Individuals like Lexi Brown are establishing new careers and creating platforms where these conversations can happen openly and honestly. Perhaps they're trying to garner clicks, push their own agendas, or simply can't handle the idea that someone can be both privileged and talented, successful and respectful of those who came before you. The popularity of programs like Gil's Arena demonstrates that people are willing to have honest and censored conversations about basketball, including women's basketball. Speaking of the media, let's also analyze how this entire topic has been reported. The support Clark has received from legends like Chris Evert and Gabby Thomas matters because they know what it's like to be at the top of your game and what it's like to face criticism. Some outlets have attempted to portray it as a straightforward black and white issue, but it's much more complicated than that. It's about generational change, the evolution of women's sports, the intersection of talent and opportunity, and timing. When Thomas supports Clark's right to acknowledge her predecessors while still taking responsibility for her own accomplishments, M must contend with expectations to bear the burden of other people's preconceptions and prejudices. She speaks from experience when she says that excellence and thankfulness don't have to conflict. You can still forge your own road while appreciating the ones others have already blazed. What's most remarkable about all of this is how it mirrors more general discussions taking place in the fields of sports and society. As we wrap this up, it's important to note that this probably won't be the last controversy surrounding Clark because she is so talented and well-known. The question of who gets to be successful and on what terms isn't unique to basketball, but basketball and especially women's basketball seems to be where these conversations are taking place the most visibly right now. It's amazing that Clark has managed to stay focused through all of this, despite the numerous heated arguments and hot takes on social media. She's still out there doing what she does best, inspiring young players and advancing the game. Criticism comes with the territory, but if this situation has shown us anything, it's that she's got support in unexpected places, from tennis legends to Olympic athletes, from former skeptics to media personalities. People who understand excellence recognize it in Clark. The future of women basketball is brighter because of players like Caitlin Clark, not because she's perfect, not because she says all the right things, but because she's authentic. She plays with joy, she acknowledges those who came. before her, and she's helping to grow the game in ways that benefit everyone involved. So whether certain WNBA figures want to acknowledge it or not, Clark's impact is undeniable. And with defenders like Chris Evert and Gabby Thomas in her corner, it's clear that her influence extends far beyond the basketball court. The game is evolving, the conversation is changing, and Clark is right at the center of it all, right where she belongs. What do you think about all this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Are you Team Clark, or do you think the criticism is justified? Let's keep this conversation going, but let's keep it respectful, just like Clark herself would want it.